morning was whether you think that our parliamentarians were capable of working together in the interest of the country, as recommended, of course, by the president in her speech yesterday at the opening of Parliament. So that was our poll this morning, and will continue to be our poll throughout the rest of the day.
Yep.
We had 34 people voting on the poll this morning, and of the 34 people voting on the poll, 33 of you said no, they are not capable of working together. One person said yes. So 33 said no, they are not capable of working together. One person said yes. So 34 people voting on the poll this morning. Of course, you can continue to vote on this poll throughout the day through all programming, and we'll give you the final result tomorrow morning, which will be midweek, believe it or not.
Yeah, Hump Day Wednesday. Let's say good morning to all those joining us on our YouTube channel. Good morning to you. We stream on YouTube in the 7 to 8 hour. That's Richard in the black, just button up his shirt there. So he looks a bit presentable. He seems like he had a haircut over the weekend. Doesn't really have much to cut. He should really save it for a later date. But, Pablo, it's TT time, so we'll get him shortly.
Yeah, so we could take some of it. I guess we could take some calls considering what people thought of the opening of Parliament yesterday. Unless we have a guest that's coming in to discuss the issue. Steve is frozen. Don't know what's happening.
Right, yeah. I was trying to get my guest early on. I had a 60-40 chance I would get him, but that's how some people just don't answer their phone. So I left a WhatsApp message. Hopefully they'll respond. They have not, have they? Have they? No, they have not. All right. Yeah, so we'll take your calls. What do you think? And tell us why you think so.
Yeah.
You know, why you think that they can't get it? Can't we all just get along?
The pomp and ceremony of the opening of Parliament is always something that, it's worthy of seeing. And of course, you also have the opening of the court, which will take place. I'm not so sure what date that is, though. But the court is due to open. They will have their own pomp and ceremony too. And then
the industrial court opens on Monday. And the ceremony of the law term, which is what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think what usually happen, I think the Chief Justice of the country, so probably within the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, because usually people then make a speech.
So you wait for them to come back.
So I guess
a lot of times they ask for the financial independence of the judiciary, which I think has never really been addressed. I think governments just ignore them.
Yeah. Let's grab this call, gentlemen. Good morning.
Good morning. Sonny San Fernando here.
Sonny, a man say you don't have to say your name.
No, but I know you all like people to say where they're calling from.
Yes, an identity and location. Yes.
Okay, well, I want to talk about the textbook because...
Yes, one of the issues we brought up this morning, yes.
Yeah, but for 25 years I worked with and for several publishers. And I just want to say something. The CXC, every 3 to 5 years, they change syllabus for different reasons or whatever, right? We're not getting into that. So when they change the syllabus, there's something called Textbook Management Unit in the Ministry of Education. They're on St. Vincent Street on the 14th floor. They review textbooks that are submitted by several publishers. And you would ask why it is that math will have 6 different books. It's because it's just the author's interpretation of the syllabus that the publishers put out there. They submit it to textbook TMU. They go through it and they present a list of all primary and secondary schools. This list is what the schools have to choose from. Now, when CXC changes the syllabus, and you do not change the edition to reflect the new syllabus, and you send the old book to TMU, guess what? It doesn't go on the list because it doesn't reflect the syllabus. Now, mind you, it might be something added or something taken away from the syllabus, or it could be both, right? So guess what? Publishers and bookstores actually do not like it when the textbook change, because I can assure you there are tons of dead stock in warehouses in Trinidad. Tons, books that can't be used because the syllabus change and the edition change. So bookstores and publishers don't like it, because if you have a 3-year cycle, but they were supposed to change in 2023, and from what we heard through the grapevine, that they do not plan to change it until maybe 2025. So like the Spanish syllabus was supposed to change last year, SEA for the students is supposed to change 2023, but I think they put a hold on all that. But it's not the Ministry of Education, is they subscribe to CXC, and CXC changes syllabus for various reasons.
And that's fine. Syllabi will change because knowledge evolves in any particular discipline. But
one more thing I would add. You see, the only thing I could understand being changed regular, you see computer science for sixth form and stuff, that needs to change every year because new things happen. And Paul, I have to beat you. My daughter, who she did her master's in criminology. Mm-hmm. I bought a case study book for $2,250. So I'll beat you back with that price that you.
But a case study book, that was a big book, boy. But if the syllabus changes every 3 years, why do some schools change textbooks every year?
Well, that would probably depend on maybe they see a new book that explains it better, or that will work probably for the students. I don't know.
Why would textbooks, for example, for Spanish need to change, or textbooks for teaching of English literature? Well, literature, I could see them. They change the classic literature book from time to time, but the English language books, why would that need to change? Because basically
English change because they add on SBAs. The Spanish book only ever changed. This is the second edition in 15 years, so it only changed after I think 12 years.
And sometimes, as you said, they get a book that displays the knowledge or presents the knowledge in a better way. So the students respond better to the knowledge in a different book. But I don't understand it every year. I don't mind every 3 years. But you see, every year, to me, I just don't understand that. And I don't understand how they put a list of books and out the same subject discipline and 7 books in 7 different schools. It just doesn't make sense to me.
And why can't books, for example, why doesn't the state go into an arrangement that says, okay, we are dealing with all the books for primary school, and all the books for primary school from standards 1 to 5 are now going to be digital. And the state goes into an arrangement with the various publishers and say, okay, we're paying you all so much per year for all of the books, and all of those books are
transmitted, working on that now.
Transmitted digitally to all students, so students don't have to buy the books. You can get them on your iPad or your tablets, and so you don't have to be walking to school with all of these big school bags. You just walk into school.
To be fair, Richard, they're working on that now, from my understanding. That's what the education e-portal is about.
Just 2 things to add. One, if you would say why they don't go back to textbook rental, all publishers are still being owed money since 2012 with textbook rental. Every single one. And 2, the ebooks. Most publishers do not manage the ebook platform. They would lease that out to a digital company to do. And those things, those contracts will have to be renewed every fiscal year. It's a hard thing to manage.
It's a licensing issue, intellectual property.
And I do not see, with our work ethic in ministries, being able to manage those issues for it to work. It can work, but not with the ministry, how they move late and it's very difficult. It's too many working parts. But if they can do it, that would be great.
Well, we'll see how the e-platform goes. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Sonny. Good morning, caller. Caller, good morning.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
Mr. Pinal here. Well, I have some experience with these textbooks issues and so on because being a primary school teacher for many years, and I have a lot of experience with these secondary school textbooks in several subjects because I offer these at my private lessons. What I have found is that there's no need to keep changing textbooks. Even if the syllabus is adjusted, if something is dropped, you can just continue to your textbook and the teacher can leave that topic out. And if something is added, as you would find over many years, you will find something new. Because I use my children's secondary school textbooks, I would have one set of books and the children who come to the lessons can bring their own and so on, individual and small groups. So we were able to work like that. But my experience is working with the latest past papers. Everybody wants the latest past papers, that's most relevant. Is that you don't need to change textbooks all the time because I was able to cover the material from my children's textbook, and by then they were in university and even out, right? So this idea that something is added, some little thing, is added, and you need a whole new book for that. If you really need it from the author, if you really need a textbook with every single thing on the syllabus, I don't think you need, as teachers can teach, I hope. Right? You can have a little supplemental textbook or something prepared at the school, and there's no reason why all of the material, every time the syllabus changes, must be only the material in the syllabus and all the material in the syllabus. You can leave out, and you can add to what you have because you will have 95% of it there in that book that can run for years. I know that for a fact, because this is what I did in my private lessons in 10 different subjects.
And a lot of the time, people don't like to admit it is a money-making thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
they could add stuff in it, but they add one section in one chapter and want a new textbook because it's edition 8, because it's a money-making thing. And yes, they update the curriculum, but I mean, how much more, as you said, besides computer science, which is evolving all the time, how many of those disciplines change radically?
Exactly. That, and even so, I still had my physics textbook, O-level physics textbook from secondary school. It just survived, and about 90% of the topics were still relevant. They had, all of that was relevant, but they had added some nuclear physics, some quantum mechanics, and a little bit of electronics.
Which you can get online.
And which the teacher can source from online or from another book, or he can make the notes himself.
A lot of it is about making money by getting new books. And as the gentleman earlier called and said, they change the curriculum every 3 years. I don't understand how that translates to new textbooks every year.
Radical change. It's not a radical change. It's a slight shift because they want to be up to date. And some of the subjects don't change for years and years and years. How much can you change mathematics at CXC? What new is coming out? What new targets are you trying to meet so that the children are prepared for whatever is going to come up at A-levels and at university?
Let me tell you what's interesting. They're changing the books and the grades falling generally.
Yes, and what happens when you see within the same school they're changing textbooks? That's the influence of the booksellers. Because in the primary school where I was, a guy took a time off from teaching, a year off, no pay. And he was going around school selling a particular publisher's books. And he came into my classroom. I said, listen, I'm good with this, Now he would have to go through the process. he was confident enough to take no pay leave, right? And then he would have to get permission from the principal to go around to the teachers. And I told him, listen, I'm happy with the book we are using, and we're good with that. And I'm not recommending any more new textbooks or anything like that. I'm good right here. You know, sometimes it's just, well, not sometimes. 95% of the time, these changes, these new books, these things are not really relevant.
It's a business.
Yes. Gentlemen, thank you.
All right.
All right. Thank you. Good morning. Good morning, caller.
Yeah, morning. I don't know what you both made this morning, huh?
Morning, Mr. Patrick.
It's Ragoobarsingh, morning. I listened to the Honorable Kamala Bissessa, the Prime Minister, and the President. And all of them saying different things.
Who are you listening to? Mrs. Pasabi says or the President? But you put two people in one category there.
I listen to the President, I listen to Kamala Bissessa and Dr.
Right, so you're listening to two of them. Okay, all right.
And Dr. Rowley's in.
Three of them.
Oh, three of them, okay.
Right, and everybody is saying something in a different form. But apparently, like he come back to the same thing, because I believe they just work together in the parliament, but they have a speaker who does bring the order. You understand? And Kamala Bissessa was saying, Richard Ragoobarsingh, it's not a tea party.
Yeah, she said that.
Mm-hmm.
We come to drink tea inside, eh? You understand what she said? She buffed back the president. She said, well, you don't mind your business. When the paper come and you take it back and you send it back. But nobody has a proof of that. Nobody has a proof of that.
She didn't say mind your business, but she inferred that.
Oh, she did?
She inferred that. She inferred that the president should... She inferred that the president should take some of her own advice.
Own advice.
About how to manage the position she holds better. And I think she was making a reference the issue of the Commissioner of Police and the handing.
In other words, you do your work and I will do my work.
Basically,
mind your business. But when I sit down and I listen to debates in different parliaments over the world, like India, China, Boris Johnson, and Europe, China have a very lovely parliament. Yes, sir? You see a man jump across the floor there with his shoes. I see all kind of bacchanal outside anyway. Yes, sir? But they really do work together, but everybody have a different personality and a different way they do things, like Kadisha, Amin, and the robbers, my next partner, and how we them, Roddy Charles and them fellas. Everybody different, but we work together because we don't get bill passed. Sometimes we ain't getting passed. You see, the opposition is not always there to make the government look good. You understand? So I don't know. But they work together. No, with this book thing, boys. I realizing even from kindergarten to primary school, the books are them changing and they're very expensive. My son and them went to school. I buy new books for my children and they never use it. They never use the books.
You're right about that. Some of the books they didn't use.
They don't use the books and they have to buy books and things. So here's why I tell people. When the teacher asks for the book, then they buy the book. Because you go in and buy one for a book and you have it packed up in a drawer the way and never use it. Well, don't talk about the three education books. When my son and my wife were doing degrees and things, it had a boat used to come here. You know the big boat?
That book saved me. That book gave me a library.
Yeah, the logos.
The logos. Mm-hmm.
The logos. There you go. They want to sell a book for 2,000, 3,000. You get a book on that logo, same book for different price, but reasonable.
Yeah, the prices on that boat is reasonable.
Yeah, so wait till the boat come, because it have a mafia in the whole publishing thing. And they go back years now. They was talking about that years now, but nobody not dealing with it because it's lucrative and people making the money. All right, later.
All right, thanks, Mr. Patrick. Good morning.
Hi, morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
Yes, if I may comment on the speech by the president. Now, I understand probably where she's coming from, right? But to say that all the business of the population entirely has not been fulfilled, because that means that Parliament is not doing a job, including the independent bench and the opposition and the government itself. Now, we can't be naive enough to believe that a group of persons, because politics is all about articulating the ideas and putting those ideas into action by convincing the population. And everybody will try to, in their best way, to bring the point across in order to get that through, right? But it is normal in any parliament, anywhere in the world, that you will have individuals in which you have passion and conflict arise, right? And it will not be isolated only to Trinidad itself.
You know, we're talking about the parliament, but think about any office situation where they're discussing things at a board level or at a management level, the disagreements. And I guess the culture of the organization is one that either facilitates a kind of interaction. You could disagree civilly, you know, or you could disagree uncivilly.
Yeah, but a business group, right, serving one purpose is quite different from a parliament, because they have two opposing entities, and sometimes three.
And one trying to get in power and one trying to stay in power.
One trying to get in power and one trying to think. But you see, the nature of politics, according to Lloyd Best, he said all of us are politicians. The only thing that differs is that some are into electoral politics, right? But there are politics involved in everything that we do. But in Trinidad issue, we need to put things into context as to understanding the role of the opposition or understand the role of the government. And if you understand the role of the opposition, it's not all the time to oppose. No, you could oppose, but how it is that you oppose, not at the behest of the population itself, right? And the population itself and those independent thinking individuals have to European individuals when they see that they're going awry. And that is, I figure, that the president should have identified. But I understand the president will not will make a general statement and won't go individually, because she'll be involving herself into the actual politics of itself, right? So that is my view of it. Thanks.
All right, thank you. Caller, good morning.
Good morning to the Power. Good morning to Power 102 and your family.
Morning, Paolo.
And good morning to the Power Breakfast Club, the morning host, the morning crew.
Morning.
This is Music Man Derek here. I had to ask a question in regards to the book situation and the curriculum, right? Did any one of you guys ever sum up that why they have to change the books every single year? Because the reason why I'm asking that question, right? My kids went to school here in the U.S. I went to school in Trinidad, plus go to school here in the U.S. because when my mother and them migrated me to the U.S. and stuff like that. And that question is always being asked of why every year in Trinidad and Tobago you have to get new books for the kids and them to basically go to school. And with that being said, what is being changed in the books so much that the books from last year is not granted and good enough this year? Because even while we was going to school here in the U.S. and stuff like that, and it had books and stuff that was being issued to us within school for us to read and learn or whatsoever, you always had books available for us in the library, which you could go into the library, which is the school library or the public library, and you could get those books also too for no charge at all. And where we reach in this stage and age in 2022, which everything is digital technology, how come those books and everything is not basically online? Because every child that I know, including my 4-year-old grandchild, have a phone that knows how to use the phone, and they just go digital to read certain things, because you as a parent or a grandparent or whatsoever, you just oversee them on what they're basically doing. But they're so smart enough and they're so technology advanced that this situation that where these parents have to be buying books every single year it's supposed to be, those are donkey days as far as I'm concerned. And that's my opinion that I wanted to drop on you guys this morning. Okay?
All right.
Thanks.
Thank you so much. All right. 222-8255 North America, like our last caller. 866-525-1099. Of course, that's a toll-free number that you can call us on. Of course, Sankofa says it is an author and publisher mafia where school textbooks are concerning. It must be stopped with immediate effect. He also says, must say, I agree with Mr. Pinal. The rapid changing of school textbooks is a mafia run by some authors and publishers, aided by their partners, well-placed and relevant agencies. It ought to be stopped immediately. And then he gives me a link on Hutton Street at Eastern Main Road, which I will send across now to Wassa. All right? All right, so call us right now. 222-8255. 612-8255. Right, of course, in the second hour of the Power Breakfast Show, we're talking about school, but we're talking about a couple of issues. And of course, just a reminder of our morning poll, and which you can discuss as well. We'd like to hear your take on it. Our poll was, or is, do you think our parliamentarians are capable of working together for the good of the country, as suggested in the President's speech, which is yesterday at the opening of Parliament? All right, and she said that yesterday. She addressed all those that sit in those chairs in that Red House, including our very own Paul Richards.
I behave.
Yeah, I've never seen you misbehave.
I'm not prone to misbehavior.
Oh, you are, just not in the Parliament. All right, and we're also taking your messages on our message board via our mobile app and on our website. Yeah, at power102fm.com. Good morning to all those that logged on to YouTube. Yeah, oops, okay.
Yeah, so we're taking your calls. 222-TALK, 222-8255, 612-8255.
We are taking it. What else is in newspapers, gentlemen? I see it popped up on my feed this morning that Donald Trump was not invited to the Queen's funeral.
Why is that news?
I just popped up on my feed.
Why is that even
I just had to chuckle.
mentionable?
Good morning.
Yeah, morning again. I would like you all to have a conversation with Twitter President, Mrs. De Freitas, because I believe Twitter and the PTA are supposed to have a issue with this books thing, because I don't believe they will just buy books, but observation for the longest while. Children in certain schools who use different books, they make higher grades than children in different schools. And I want to know if it's the syllabus or if it's a different level of reading material in the books. You understand what I said?
Mm-hmm.
I know
But it's a combination of things. It's the students, it's the teachers' ability to teach, it's the books, it's the school environment. It's not one thing.
Because I observe a lot of children who I know recently, they get eight subjects, 7 ones and 1 2 and different things, and then it has children of the schools fighting up to get 3 subjects. So I want to know if it's the teacher, if it's the book, what it really is. What it really
It's several different factors combined. It's not one. Academic performance is a function of several different factors. Sometimes it's parental supervision, it's home resources, it's nutrition, it's teachers' ability to deliver the curriculum effectively, it's assessment modality.
Yeah, but we take that observation, I
It
realize
very
that
seldom has anything to do with the textbook quite frankly.
Yeah, exactly.
Textbook is at the end of the entire.
Textbook is at the end of the continuum. You're right.
You got to realize in certain schools, because I know a lot of them young people and them students and the books totally different from certain school books too. So I want to know, well, what is the magic in getting 8 subjects and some children fighting up to get 2, 1, 3. So as I say, it's a multi thing. I get this system, but this book thing is changing. And I listen, my partner talk about go online. How many?
What does Mr. Patrick look like? It just passed through my head.
Yeah. How many children are disciplined to go online? You understand? And go and do what they want to do, and not to go and do other things.
Some, depending on parental supervision, upbringing, socialization.
Yeah, because, reading material from a textbook, from what I understand, from our principal, is very important for you to focus and function. So it's good for some, and some won't be able to deal with it. You understand? But we have to get and stop this whole book thing, boy. Because I say it's a mafia.
Steve, it'll be good to get
the book.
President of the Principals Association. I forget his number. Let me get it from Avril.
Yeah. You have to call all these people and find out what's really going on within the school system, because it has some children who won't function in the school system because of the financial costs and all. Because some schools are very expensive to even attend. Some schools, All right.
All right. Thanks, Mr. Patrick. Good morning, caller.
What happens with Americans? Because I can't remember the Americans I know, like family members, complaining to me about having to go and buy books for the opening of the school.
Depending on the type of books. In many cases, the books are supplied by the school and you return the book at the end of the term.
Oh, so they don't really have the issue of going to buy books every term.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because that's what I'm thinking. You don't hear that quarrel.
Particularly if it's a charter book, a charter school. But even the state-administered schools, they supply most of the books, and you leave the book at the end of the term.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
San Fernando, good morning.
Enter people home, but since they have the revolving door, they just don't care. They just really, really don't care. So somebody have to talk to the judicial system to help the crime.
Okay. All right. 2-2 talk. Toll free, North Americans, 866-525-1099. Again, our morning poll. Do you think our parliamentarians are capable of working together for the good of the country, as suggested?
That's a really broad question, eh?
Speech.
What do you mean by work together? Work together amicably, work together effectively? It's a very broad question.
Yeah.
Work together is very nebulous. They work together, but how do they work together? Are you expecting us to sit down and sing Kumbaya and come to consensus? Are you comfortable with the present dynamic of opposition versus government versus opposition? That's the question. I mean, they work together. I sit in committees all the time and they work together. They work together in the lower house and the upper house. But I guess the real question is the output commensurate to the input, and is the country moving ahead at the pace that we wanted to move ahead at?
Good morning, caller.
Morning, Steve. How you doing?
Not bad.
All right, Oliver here.
Hey, happy anniversary, Oliver.
Thanks. Paul, you're not nice. Paul, I'm cracking up here.
Why?
I know Mr. Patrick look like.
No, it just passed through my brain to say, well, we hear him all the time, and he's a great contributor to the show. We appreciate his contribution, but we don't know what he look like.
I must agree. He's a great contributor. You had me wondering the same thing, Paul. I am envisioning Mr. Patrick as a short man with some patches of grey.
When I see Mr. Patrick, and I see it with the greatest of affection, I think of a character looking like Oscar the Grouch.
Oh, you're not nice.
But said with affection. Oscar was a pivotal role on Sesame Street, you know.
Every time Mr. Patrick calls now, I'll think of Oscar the Grouch. I can just picture that.
guys, something that I was looking at in last Sunday once in the vicinity of California. You know that there's the old sugar house. How on earth can Paul and Company acquire the sugar house? That historic place.
Could you repeat that? How does what?
Yeah.
How on earth can Gopal and Company acquire that sugar house? And has
a piece of history.
Exactly. And they acquired that property and business running from there. How on earth can that happen? I would like to know.
Because the society allows it.
Somebody else.
And even abroad, you can purchase historic properties there, and they have different grades, especially like in England. I know they have different grades of historic.
Yeah.
But what it means is that if you buy it, you are constrained in terms of what you do with it. What kind of development you can do on the property. And it has to be sanctioned by the necessary authority that governs historic buildings. So they will tell you what you can and cannot do.
The thing is that it happened like such a secret, because it's just like one morning you wake up and there's about 20 Gopal trucks down there.
but are you surprised that stuff like that happens like a secret? That's how it's happened. They want you to know until it's done. I would let you know before it's done.
It was just something that crossed my mind, and I wanted to share with you guys. So you all have a blessed day.
Somebody get a best deal. Thank you.
All right.
I asked my sister specifically in the US what happens, and she said what she replied to me was, for elementary, middle, and high school, all books are provided, and each student gets a laptop. She said, so for our youngest daughter, we have never purchased books.
Well, it depends on the state.
Sometimes you have fees for other supplies. She says sometimes you have fees for other supplies, but not for textbooks.
And that's generally the case, but some states are different. Because I know some inner city kids ain't got a laptop. But as I said before, the books are supplied by the state. And you leave the book as you leave the level.
So she's saying that's provided, and each student gets a laptop.
Yeah.
And I know that with my students, because they also ask you what kind of Wi-Fi you have at home. I know she had told me that before, and that if you don't, they provide a mobile, the mobile unit that you can.
Again, state by state, school district by school district. It's not as universal as you think.
That. That's what they provide.
Good morning, caller.
Hi, morning. Me again. Mr. Patrick and Paul hit the nail on the head. If you were to see, because part of my job entails gathering book lists throughout the country, right? And like the Mokarapo, East and West, if you look at their book list, it's a stationary list. And they use textbooks from their textbook rental program, which have been, that edition would have been the 2005 to 2009 cycle. And if you look at a book list for the two top schools with scholarships, that'll be SAGs and Knox Guilds. Their book lists have multiple textbooks, but what they do, they list the core text, what they may have in textbook rental or what they went with from ever since, and then they have recommended supplemental books. And sometimes they have several supplemental books per subject, like maybe science they would have.
And that's not mandatory, that's optional.
It's optional, and they put optional. So maybe schools need to look at that, because they both, those two schools combined account for almost 100 of the scholarships.
But as Richard said, as a factor contributing to academic success and performance, school books are not at the top tier. A lot of it is the parental support, the child's aptitude and abilities, the teacher's ability to deliver the curriculum, nutrition, etc. So textbook is just one factor.
Well, yeah, it's one factor, yeah. And just wanted to say, someone asked what will change in maths. The only change it had in maths for 15 years was SBA. They brought on a SBA in math and English, and recently in HSB, because HSB never had a SBA. So a book that human and social biology that never changed in maybe 12 years had to be changed because there was a SBA component, and a lot of teachers would gravitate to a book explaining the SBA because they never also did not get...
But you said that's 12 years. We're talking about it every year changing is the issue, not even every 3 years or 5 years. It's every year some schools change textbooks.
Yeah.
One question. Do me a favor. When next do you have the tutor president, find out what is the problem with the halt of training for teachers, because they haven't had any training for new subjects for quite a while. Years, maybe was it almost 5 years, 4 or 5 years.
Maybe they take any time to rest and reflect.
Well,
That's
usually hard in LRC in MacBean. But
remember, rest and reflection takes up a lot of time.
All right, take care.
Yeah.
Right.
I was asking my sister how pervasive it is about the issue of laptops and is it different from state to state. And she says all textbooks are supplied. Maybe not everyone gets laptops, but I have lived in 3 different states, Louisiana, Arkansas, and Pennsylvania, and they've all given laptops. She said, but she's not so sure. She can't say for 50 states.
Well, I've done work in 3 different states also.
And she said, but she said in those 3 states that she's always gotten laptops.
If you go to the inner city schools in particular, they are less resourced, just like in any other jurisdiction. Education is not equitable across the board, unfortunately.
Yeah. She said the thought is that not all students can afford to buy books, so the state supplies all. But yes, that is an expense that some parents will not be able to provide for students. So I don't know how come we have never gone to a system of the school system providing textbooks for students as they go through the education system.
But somebody
because
find
it's always something that's a big burden on parents the beginning of every academic year. Not at the purchasing at the beginning of every academic year, but in preparation for the new academic year, it's always an issue. I got the book list, I've gotten the books already, or I still have to get the books, or parents who are struggling. And because you interface with parents all the time, fathers who are groaning about they have to hustle and to get money to buy the books. And so why our system has remained like that and not come to some level.
When we have the resources, at least at one point, to supply books across the state.
Exactly. So,
to make it more equitable. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that everybody, because some people can't buy the books.
That means test for that too. It's 8 o'clock. News is next. What, Steve? You got caught by surprise? Did 8 o'clock come? You didn't know 8 o'clock was coming?
Yeah, I don't understand.
I think you need to tell your newsroom that.
I don't understand that at all.
Their song.
Yeah, but they'll walk in right after. They probably went